As we talk about the global consequences, well, the immediate impact of what President Trump said, that there is no ending of the war as of now, and the immediate impact was seen in the markets. Right when the time he ended his speech, the Asian markets opened up, and however, initial bloodbath that seems to have been witnessed, there still seems to be some signs of a recovery that seems to have been witnessed. So some of the major stock markets have had a strong start to the day after the stocks in Wall Street were largely flat overnight. So Hina, what does it indicate as far as the markets are concerned? Good morning.
Good morning, Amita. Even yesterday, our markets saw a very good recovery, and today our markets are shut because of Good Friday. Markets in Hong Kong as well as Singapore are shut today. But if you look at other Asian markets like Kospi, that has seen a gain of over 3% today. Nikkei, Japan's Nikkei is up about 1%. So Asian markets are seeing a gain. Now, what is the reason? The reason is that there are hopes that maybe we could see reopening of the Strait of Hormuz despite the statements that have come from US President Donald Trump and despite no signs of de-escalation really emerging at this point in time. Now, I'm saying this, Amita, because a report has suggested that Iran as well as Oman are actually drafting a protocol to monitor the transit through the Strait of Hormuz. And this particular report has raised hopes that this crucial waterway, which is the Strait of Hormuz, could partially reopen, and that is something that's supporting this market sentiment right now. Yesterday, there was an important meeting as well that took place where India's foreign secretary also participated.
Yes.
So it seems that maybe going forward, there could be some we can say positive news with respect to Strait of Hormuz. So as of now, this aspect is lending some hope among investors, and we are seeing a bit of a positivity. But of course, it's like I said, it depends on sentiments as far as the stock market is concerned. So we'll have to wait and see how the day really unfolds, and if any statement comes from Iran suggesting that no, they don't have a plan to reopen Strait of Hormuz, then the markets will fall again. But right now, there are hopes that maybe Strait of Hormuz might reopen.
But what about the Brent crude prices, Hina? Because there was a sharp spike, and that kept the volatility alive after President Trump's address.
That's right. Before US President Donald Trump's address yesterday, Brent crude prices were below $100 per barrel. They were hovering around $99.5 per barrel, because the expectation of the market was, and the energy market specifically was, that he is going to maybe give us a big indication as to, either the war is going to end soon or de-escalation is on the way. But nothing of that sort really happened. He pretty much repeated what he's been saying so far. After his, press conference, Brent climbed to $106 per barrel. Brent yesterday closed at $101 per barrel eventually, and today it is seeing a gain of about 7.8%, and right now it's inching towards $110 per barrel. So Brent continues to rise, and despite that, there is a breather, a little bit of green in the stock markets in some parts of Asia that can be witnessed.
Right. But initially, when it comes to President Trump's address, Hina, wasn't that, when it comes to dashing of hopes that was done by President Trump, because there was a lot of anticipation that was building up that the war may finally see, a pause or a halt, but that did not happen. So how did the markets actually, recover? Because some of the Asian major stock markets have had a strong start to the day after the stocks on Wall Street largely, fell flat overnight. So what are we looking at? What were the factors actually that the Asia-Pacific markets rebounded?
Well, like I said, one, of course, there is a report suggesting we could see a partial reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, a very, very important waterway for energy supplies from the Gulf to the entire world. So that report is lending some kind of positivity. Now, that is aspect number one. Second is, basically it's just two markets we're talking about in Asia, Japanese markets and South Korean markets that are trading in green right now. And they are seeing a bit of green because American shares also last night closed in green because of hopes that Iran war is perhaps moving towards some kind of a resolution. And that is the reason why there is a bit of a breather, because over the last couple of days, if you've noticed, we have seen literally a bloodbath on stock markets across the world, in Asia specifically. Yes. And, it's just work on sentiments. So right now there is hope that, we could see maybe partial reopening of
trading on the NSE and the BSE will resume on the 6th of April, which is Monday, on account of Good Friday. The markets are closed today, and of course, then comes the weekend. But this seems to be a positive sign, because that seems to have raised hopes that the Iran war could end soon, as far as in the coming 2 to 3 weeks is concerned, because that seems to be on the latest round of statement that has been shared by President of the United States of America. Hina, appreciate you joining us here on the broadcast. We'll continue with our focus on top developments.